think that sustainability can be a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
However, not in the sense that I'm doing it better than you.
Yeah.
More like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
What you're doing,
Yeah.
we want to do it too.
Thank you for joining us on this next podcast. Now, I have to say I'm somewhere very special. If you're listening to this podcast and you're not watching this on YouTube, then I really must remember to tell you where I am and what it looks like. It's a very, very special place. But before I say that, I have to say I'm having one of those nice weeks. You know, I did like an innovation workshop with a really great bunch of people earlier on this week. Oh, they had some fantastic ideas. And that's what really motivates me. They had ideas that really knocked the ball out of the park. That was really great. Then jumped in my new electric vehicle, which probably by now you're sick of hearing about on these podcasts, but I'm raving about this. You know, I'm raving about this. This car is just so much fun to drive. It really is. Came all the way over here. You know, it was great. Just behind where I've stayed last night, the hotel, that's where I could park the car, almost in the same, well, basically in the same building. And then what did I do? I plugged it in straight away. So I don't need to go to the gas station and waste my lifetime tomorrow morning. People always talk about how long does it take for your vehicle to charge. Well, how long does it take to actually go and stand next to some stinky petrol pump and wait for the thing in the cold to actually fill your car up? So I'm really enjoying that experience. The other experience I really loved, and this is where I need to tell you where I am. I'm actually in Capsule Hotels, which is the name of a company. Capsule Hotels, hotel here in Lucerne. They have two here. This one's called Chapter Lucerne, if I remember correctly. And I stayed in one of their capsules last night. So I'm sat here in like a really funky kind of like shared community area. I was going to say co-working. I know one of the founders, he actually set up some co-working spaces before they founded this hotel chain. And I think he's very experienced in that. And he's also the guy that's responsible for this beautiful design. I can tell you, this is like a really quite amazing place to be in, the space that they've created here. Every hotel they have is designed in a different theme. And believe me, I'm going to mention this a few times in the interview. I am not getting paid to do this podcast. This is not a promotional video. This is not me influencing. This is me trying to share about a company that's truly passionate about ESG. Just in case you don't know what ESG is about, well, it's about measuring companies' performance not only on their financial performance, but also on their environmental performance, their impact, and also on their social impact. Now, most companies we've dealt with seem to have forgotten about the social thing, whereas this company is doing this incredibly well. And I was so delighted. I called up a lady called Valentina Rodoni last week. She's responsible for the whole ESG thing here. This company is also a member of an organization called the European Famous Hostels, and she set up their ESG program and community together with one other person there. So she really knows her stuff. And that was the nice thing about listening to Valentina. She studied ESG, or she studied sustainability. She really knows what she's talking about. I just know about how to get strategy done. She knows about the whole facts and figures and all the different aspects of certification and report writing and things like this. But more important than that, she's passionate about actually doing it. It's not just about writing a report for her. It's not just about getting some, certification that you can pop onto your website to try and pretend that you're sustainable. And we talked about the Green Directive that's been signed off by the EU last year. That's coming into effect in a couple of years' time, which will hopefully get rid of a few of these companies that are just pretending to audit you when you're just filling out a checklist. No, so she's really giving us some in-depth knowledge about ESG. She's given, I think, some really great advice for companies that want to profit more from ESG. And I think we're both passionate about the idea of saying, look, this needs to be profitable. If it's going to be sustainable, it has to be profitable. But the really interesting thing about this company is how much effort they put and how much emphasis they put into the social side of what they're doing. Now, social means many different things. Community means many different things. What they're doing is they're trying to create hotels that actually create a space for the local environment, for the local community. So not the Facebook community or the online community, the people who live in this area. They encourage them to come into the various different hotels. They encourage them to benefit from this space. And they also encourage them to interact with the solo travelers. who come into these hotels. So we're going to hear a lot more about that from Valentina. We were also super lucky that one of the founders and owners of the company, a guy called Adri Vreda, he also found some time for us and sat down at the end. So we got a little bonus interview with him as well. I'm not sure where we'll cut that in the film, but it was really fascinating listening to him as well. Maybe we'll put it out as a separate podcast because he had a lot of inspiring things to say. Okay, I think you've heard enough of my voice so far. Let's get down to listen to Valentina. She's a fascinating lady. I learned so much. I'm sure you're going to learn a lot as well. I do hope you enjoy the podcast. Please remember to subscribe. Please remember to give us your likes. Please remember, though, most importantly, to put some comments in there so that we know what you like about this film or this audio podcast, and that we know what to do differently and what to keep the same. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the conversation. Valentina Rodoni, thank you very much for taking the time today. I've stayed in one of your fantastic capsules last night, and it was a really pleasant experience. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like when you open it for the first time, you're like, what's this going to be like? You know, it's not like going to prison or anything. You know, you slide that door away and then you look inside and you go, whoa, this is actually cool.
Yes.
And I normally laugh at people that put like mirrors in their houses, like trying to make it look bigger, but that really works, that whole mirror thing.
Yeah, I know, it works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think that the concept is super interesting as well. And you're in for an experience normally.
Yeah.
When people book for these capsules,
Yeah.
some of them know what they're looking for, they know what they're expecting,
Yeah.
and some of them they are just like, wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy that also the mattress is really good, right?
Yeah, mattress was great. Pillow was okay as well. And like I've spent a lot of my business life on the road. I'm picky with pillows.
I
you
can
know?
imagine.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I even have a travel pillow that I take to some hotels because it can ruin you next day. You can lose a big deal if you don't sleep, right?
I'm with you, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a pillow person.
Yeah.
I definitely. So, and I actually was part of choosing this pillow, so I hope that it was okay.
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a good job. But
Great.
just tell me as well, like we're going to start somewhere totally different in this podcast, but let's just start where we are at. Like, how do you make it feel so comfortable inside? Because I noticed like the noise and stuff, it wasn't echoey. And, you know, like I was obviously doing the research, watching all these 10 best capsule hotels. A capsule hotel is not a capsule hotel, right? There are many different kind of quality standards, styles, you know? How do you make yours feel so cozy?
Yeah, I think that it has a lot to do with the whole concept. We have now a few locations in Switzerland. And the idea of each location is that it has a special theme.
Okay.
And the theme is you can see it in the open zones, you can see it in the rooms, you can see it in the design of the capsules. I think that when you come up with an idea of we want a capsule, let's make it a hotel room basically.
Yeah.
It also needs to feel cozy, right?
Yeah.
Hence, our team really spends a lot of time to design the little elements of the capsules. So these capsules are different than the ones that we have in Zurich.
Okay.
Slightly.
Okay.
I don't know, the technic panel where the air is constantly changed.
Yeah.
It's maybe in a place where it's another place in the other capsules.
Right.
And you mentioned also the noise. That's something that we listen a lot to feedback. And the one thing that we wanted to improve is the capsules are very well isolated already. However, if people really slam the door when they close it, you hear it. Or if they snore really, really loud, you might hear it as well. Therefore, we try now to find a solution how to isolate the noise even more.
Okay.
And we added a panel of recycled PAT. That's what you basically see when you enter and lay down, and you have the side of the door.
The colourful side or the grey? Oh, the side of the door. It's like a grey thing. It looks like wool, if you ask me.
It looks like wool. And that's actually recycled PAT.
You're joking? Like
it's great.
recycled like plastic bottles,
Yes, exactly.
You couldn't do anything out of them, right?
Absolutely.
You know why people are, we went sailing a couple of years back, their family and I. We're big sailors anyway. We sail on Lake Constance. But we hired a boat and we sailed across from France over to Corsica and down the Corsican coast and back again. It was brilliant. Big adventure, you can imagine set off in the middle of the night to sail. But it was so depressing. It was only one cove, but it was a really beautiful beach and lovely restaurants and everything. It was full of plastic bottles, and it was obviously where the currents collected them. Terrible. But if you can make something like that out of it, it's a good thing.
Definitely. And I think there are a few projects actually of things like this. And I think that especially in hospitality, this is a big discussion, right? Waste, plastic waste,
food waste,
and one of the things that we have now, we are gonna publish our sustainability report soon.
I heard about this. You're like your first one, right?
Yes,
Whoa, big
I'm very
thing,
excited
big
about
thing.
it.
Yeah.
I've worked hard on it, and
Yeah.
of course, I mean, it's just I've had a lot of inputs and a lot of help from different people, but it's be kind with me when it's gonna come out, because I mean, it's not like we have a whole design team that was working on it. I tried my best, but the good thing about it is we set goals, measurable goals that we want to achieve in the next few years. And I'm saying this because talking about waste, one of the things is like, is PET better or glass, actually, or which one is worse?
Yeah.
This is one of the big things that we discuss. And then you think, well, if there is waste, what can you do with it?
Yeah.
So what is the best outcome if you actually do have waste?
Yeah.
I think that this is one of the things that could help also to find new solutions.
Yeah.
Because if PET, for example, there is these projects, you can create insulating panels, or I don't know, clothing fabrics.
Yeah. Some of my sports clothes are recycled PET. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So there are many different options to do things. And I think that's pretty wonderful, actually.
You know, I mean, like even like in the 90s, I remember people talking about, they were saying like reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
And it's still to this day, it's common sense, right? Like just use less is cool. And then if you are going to use it again, like a reusable water bottle or something like that, or recycle it, you know? And of course, now we've got to upcycling, and that's what you're talking about, is actually taking something that's rubbish and turning it into something better, repurposing it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's really pretty cool. One of the things that we try to do in here at Capsule Hotels, but in general, I think hospitality. We really have the opportunity to educate guests on whether it's recycling or whether it's anything else. There is a increase in like not only intention but interest in sustainable travel.
Okay.
Especially solo travelers between, let's say, 16 to 35 years old.
Because your target market will probably be solo travelers.
Indeed.
You see a lot. Do you have any double? I saw on some of the YouTube films they're like double capsules. Do you have a double or
We don't.
Okay. All right.
At the moment, we're focusing on single capsules.
Okay.
And we didn't get so many requests about double capsules yet. And you know, it's something that at the moment we're evaluating, because this works really well.
Yeah.
And since the target is solo travelers, it works.
Yeah.
What's the goal behind this, or the idea behind this, is let's say that you're traveling somewhere and you need a place to stay that is affordable, safe, and comfortable. Then you end up in a capsule hotel. And we were also talking about before about the vibe. I think that one of the things that we really try to do here is to create a cozy atmosphere so that people feel welcome and at home. And not only the guests and the travelers, but also the community. They're welcome to come in, have a coffee, have a chat, have a business meeting even. It's a bit of a merging of things, of people.
So that was one of the topics I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into, because we spoke about this. We met like last year, kind of like, we met online. That will start rumors. We met over LinkedIn very professionally online last year. And anyway, and so like I remember you were saying about you want to get the local community. When we say community these days, you guys have got a WhatsApp, social media community. You know, community is a word that's used for so many things, but you really mean the people who live in the area are welcome to come in your hotel,
as well. Yes. I created an impact framework to help us basically decide on which goals we want to focus really, and what are the most important things that we want to do.
Is this part of your report as well?
Yeah, as well. And one of the things is people and community.
Okay.
And this focuses mostly on our team, plus the community around us, plus the guests. So it's about people in general.
All right then.
The main focus on the community when we talk about neighborhoods, locals that live here in the area, there we go into another dimension of this impact framework that is called, I called it local focus and sustainable futures. The idea here is to think, as a tourism business, as a hospitality business, we are really central in the middle of a city. How do we make sure that the benefits that we bring are shared with others here? Okay. That we're just not coming in and like taking over everything.
Yeah.
So I think that there are different aspects when we talk about community.
Yeah.
The way that I see it is to think about the people who live in a certain area, in a certain destination, and how your business can bring good things to them.
Okay.
How they can be involved also in decisions, if there are decisions to be made.
Excellent. Yeah.
And on the other side, the community is us, our people,
Yeah.
our guests, and how we connect all of these together. At the end of the day, we're all people, right?
Yeah.
And it's also very enriching, the fact that everybody comes from different backgrounds and has different ideas. And I think it could be very valuable if you're a traveler.
Yeah.
And you're staying for a couple of days in a place, and then you have a chance to get to know about the local culture
Yeah.
from the neighbor who comes here and have coffee.
I never even thought of that. That's an absolutely
And
excellent thing.
It
Yeah.
would be really nice to
Yeah.
have something like that.
Yeah.
And as we were mentioning before, I think that sometimes it's hard to bridge that,
Yeah.
to take away the fact that a hotel is just a hotel and it's not a place.
Yeah.
But if I can mention this, there are a few places, a few hostels I know all over Europe and in Italy that they do this really well.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. Okay.
And basically the community goes there, like there is a line outside, and they need the security,
Yeah.
because people just want to go there.
Really,
That's
yeah.
the place
Just
to
it's
be.
the place to be, yeah. That's excellent. I mean, that has to be your goal, right? We
Yeah.
talk about objectives and key results, and for us, an objective is a dream goal.
Yeah.
And to say this is the place to be.
Yeah.
We often say, we have like regular check-ins. We say this is the go-to meeting. It's the only meeting of the week that you don't miss. That's
Yeah.
like, then you've got it right. If there's a meeting at work and people want to go there, it's adding value, yeah?
Exactly.
And the same, if you've got a queue outside of people, do you think we're going to do that? Will we ever see that here in Lucerne?
I'm not sure, mostly because I feel like people here, Swiss people in general, we are a bit maybe on our own. We like to be together,
Yeah.
but I think it needs to be a push. There needs to be something.
A hook.
A hook, exactly. And I just said maybe not, but at the same time, we had like 80 people for the comedy show last
So you did
week.
a comedy, was it just last week, the comedy show, yeah?
No, we did a few already.
Right.
And they were pretty successful.
Okay.
The room was full here.
Yeah, it's a big room to
It is
fill.
a big room, actually. And we always need a couple of 2 or 3 hosts
Okay.
on site, on
Yeah.
the floor, because there is a lot to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And it gets really busy.
Yeah.
So there is opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
I think that we just need to find the right hook.
Yeah.
We need to find how can we engage the people
Yeah.
that are around here.
Yeah.
And find interesting things
Yeah.
to do.
And I've spent a lot of time in workshops and in different projects. Also, before I was a consultant, I had the kind of job where I'd be going to different suppliers and things like this. And you get to know people, and not everyone is the one that like tries things out straight away. Not everyone is the one that will come in and feel comfortable without being invited. And so maybe it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a cultural thing, but maybe it's also just generally the area that you're in here, not necessarily Switzerland, but just the road you're on,
Yeah.
that it's not something that those kind of people walk past because there's not a
Exactly.
cinema at the end of the road or something, Yeah.
And also just trying out things. I think one of the things that we would like to do also this year is to ask a bit more feedback.
Yeah.
Not only to our guests
Yeah.
and not only about the stay, but
Yeah.
about sustainability in general.
Yeah.
How also they experience it when they come here.
Yeah.
And also ask the people that live here,
Yeah.
hey, what would you like to have
Yeah.
around here,
Yeah.
one other thing that maybe it's important in order to build such
Yeah.
a community is partnerships.
Yeah.
So for instance, we have there is a wine bar that just opened downstairs.
Okay.
And they're super nice.
Yeah.
So we already talked about, hey, if one night one of your guys or
Yeah.
some people have a long evening,
Yeah.
they're more than welcome. We
Yeah.
can maybe make some kind of agreement or something.
Yeah.
Creating a community, I think it also has to do a lot with partnerships and cooperations.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to be the beacon and everybody else needs to come to you.
Yeah.
It's maybe you can be a connector. You can facilitate the fact that people get to know each other. And one of the main things about sustainability is also supporting local businesses, sharing about what's in the area rather than just focusing on what's more convenient. one of the ideas is also when guests are here, if we organize either a pub crawl or a some kind of activity, or we give advice, we will tend to give advices on visit this place, which is like a super traditional, I don't know, maître chocolatier, or visit this place, it's one of the oldest bakeries, or go there, they actually have a very tiny brewery and local beer. You know, trying to really support the people that actually have a business here and are from here.
And I was speaking to like super friendly Luca last night. Okay, he didn't want to be filmed, and I'm cool with that. But he's one of the friendliest men I've ever met. I thought he was the friendliest man in Lucerne until I met Bruno this morning. He's just as friendly. They're like clones, you know. They look different, but they're just the same nice people. Wonderful. But you know, he was telling me as well, like you got this electric car that you can like just borrow, and you go for a tour. What's all that about?
Have you seen it?
I saw the picture, but I can
show you later.
This
is
I'm
awesome.
coming back in summer. We're going to do another podcast where you and me are driving around the town.
Please, let's do that. This is going to be so much fun. Also, but we have to do karaoke. I heard this works well on social media. Of course. The carpool karaoke. This is going to be the Microlino karaoke. I love it. So Microlino is also a partnership that we have. There is this tiny, cute electric car that is branded. It says Chapter Lucerne Capsule Hotel. And it's cool because I think that there are not a lot. There are a few around. But people notice it. And guests can rent it for free actually at the moment.
You take it for free,
At the moment, you need to sign everything and things. But at the moment, people are taking it, and then they can explore the area. We have a couple of suggested trips to take. Also because you need to consider how long it takes and the battery, because it's fully electric. I have the feeling that it's like a go-kart. It's like and it's tiny, so you also need to properly know how to drive, but it's super nice. And there is people that really like to take it just for a few hours and explore the city, especially when the weather is nice. It's wonderful, really.
And I mean, I remember like back in the day, like first trip to London, I learned the first trip was in a Range Rover. I worked for Land Rover, it wasn't mine. The next trip was like in a Mini. And I found out if you go to a new city, you've got two options, big or small, but don't take anything in between. But a small car in a town.
It's wonderful. And also here you can really explore the area. And it's nice also to have this possibility for the guests. And it's some people have the space to rent the bikes, for instance. At the moment we have a Microlino and electric scooters as well, which is also quite cute.
That's cool as well. And they are great to get around with as well. I mean, you know, it's really wonderful to see how all of this is actually happening and turning true. You know, because I'll be honest, over the last 20 years I've heard so many promises about how much nicer the future's going to be, and then you find that people just focus on like earning money and taking money off people without actually giving back the wonderful experience. You know, if I hear about what you're doing, and maybe we can talk about your MVP in a minute, but we're a big like fan of like, just let's measure something first, you know, get a minimum viable product out there. And for some of my clients that are listening, that doesn't mean a bad prototype. It means something that guests in a hotel or customers will like, but it's not the big thing yet. And you know, if I was you and I was thinking about expansion, I would actually start with the social side. I would just like, you know, find different cities or whatever around the world, and you know, it's location. I think for Capsule Hotel, location's important, right? Location. Yeah, exactly. So you can just like start with the cafe. You can start with the social area, and then if it's good, let's build the hotel as well. You know, that'd be the way I'd do it. But maybe you're doing this. Maybe I'm giving away your secrets here. I don't know.
It's I think it's a process. I think that if I can take a minute and tell you a bit about my story,
I would love to. That would be my next question. So please do.
I think that might be also interesting to hear from people that are, you know, starting on a sustainability journey. I am a bit of an academic nerd, and
I disagree.
No, trust me. I did my bachelor and then I did my master's, and I focus on sustainability. It's always been a bit of my passion, but now really I got into the studies, and this was the thing I wanted to do. And I found basically the position to work for Capsule Hotels as a trainee at first, and I kind of made it very clear in my video interview of 10 minutes. I think that my boss will still laugh about it, because I took, instead of writing a letter, I did a video where I explained why I would be a great addition to the company and why sustainability was absolutely something I needed to work with.
Okay.
And this is my thing. And
You're joking, yeah?
No, I did that. That was not part of the, application. But I said, I would really like to work with this. And and they said, hey, actually, sustainability has always been important for us.
Okay.
At that point, it was 2022, and the company was founded in 2018.
Okay.
It was founded in 2018. At that point, we had 2 locations plus a few more capsules in Basel.
Okay.
And sustainability has always been very important, but they didn't really have a strategy. They didn't really know how to deal with it.
Okay.
So I joined the company, and then the management team gave me carte blanche.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like sustainability, it's like, it's not just we say it,
Okay.
it is really important. So let's
Okay.
make sure that we introduce it in our strategy,
Okay.
like as an integral part, and we come up with something.
Okay.
So go ahead, work on it.
So this is really fascinating for me because we work with kind of 2 kinds of business. All we do, we're not like I'm a nerd. I'm a physicist. I can theoretically do anything, But I'm not the guy that knows all about sustainability. But what my company does well is we help people to accelerate their agenda, to achieve the goals sooner and easier and with more fun. And we work with companies that are like big old brown companies that want to get greener.
Yeah.
And also we talk about like Born Green, and that's a Born Green organization. But I think your very first capsules, they weren't so green, right?
Yeah.
That was an MVP. Or how did that go? What was your experience
The MVP
there?
was actually quite interesting. I think the whole story is quite interesting, actually. Basically, one of the co-founders, they had a group of people that they met. They had a space in a building, and they did like vision night to try to find. They did a kind of a workshop to define ideas on what they could do in this place. And eventually they came up, let's do a hotel. Let's do a capsule hotel.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. It's a concept that comes from Japan. It was really well there, so let's do it. The 2 co-founders, they had absolutely no idea about hospitality.
Okay.
Ordered capsules from, I think, some website,
Yeah.
Alibaba, like plastic capsules.
Okay.
Put them into this room, and then they realize, well, we maybe need someone that actually knows something about hospitality in order to build the guest journey, and how do we make this so that it's actually really comfortable. And 2018, 2019, they started to work. They found someone else that joined the company, and the MVP actually proved to work.
Okay.
People loved the capsule idea.
Yeah.
People were staying in the capsules. And it was already a capsule with a closed door, because often you have maybe hostels that have curtains or some kind of walls, which is great. We really wanted to go more into private.
I think
sphere.
maybe it's just me, but that was an important one for me when I saw the
I can
films
imagine,
and stuff.
yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure, but
Also, especially, I think it tailors a lot to people that are maybe over a certain age, and women.
Yeah.
Because it's you have your own private space. Nobody can enter if unless you're outside with them, you know. And still, you shouldn't capsule for one person.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But yes, basically, the MVP worked. However, it was quite clear very soon that the quality was not up to standard.
Yeah.
We're in Switzerland.
Yeah.
We really value good quality hospitality as well. And the idea was not to be just any hostel.
Yeah.
We wanted to be a high standard hostel. Like almost like affordable luxury.
Yeah.
And that's when Capsule Hotel was really born.
Yeah.
It's called Capsule Hotel because the feeling that you have, I don't know, you've walked around here, it feels a bit like a hotel.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you have a big room with multiple capsules inside and shared facilities and bathrooms. And the bathrooms are also quite fancy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So it's a bit of a middle ground. We then developed the capsules in Switzerland.
Yeah.
They're produced here.
Oh, so the actual capsule itself,
Yeah.
The kind of the hotel room, if you like. Yeah.
Exactly. The hotel room is produced here with a company, with a local company. And the supply chain is actually mostly over Europe and the neighboring countries, which is also pretty good.
Yeah.
And yes, the concept of the capsules themselves is also sustainability wise.
Yeah.
We already started pretty well on the environmental side too.
Yeah.
Because you have a big room, you're cooling down only that room or heating it up. and the capsules only have the constant airflow that gets
It's like
changed.
every 20 minutes or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember my team said, ask the question about the air.
Yes.
It's like, don't forget the air question. So,
Well, I will tell you.
okay.
It's 22 times per hour. The
Okay.
air is constantly changed with the vents.
22 times an hour?
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
like, you always have fresh air.
Yeah.
And the material that the capsules are made
Yeah.
of, it
Yeah.
helps to basically keep the cold inside, but also that it doesn't get too cold or too warm. And
I noticed that with the temperature as well. I got in and I was like, oh, this is going to be too warm. I'm like an
How was
open
it
window
actually for
sleeper.
you?
Fine.
It was
It's
okay?
absolutely fine.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I thought when I got in, it's going to be too
Yeah.
hot for me to sleep. No, it was fine.
I think maybe
Yeah.
that's one of the things that we know. We, in order for the capsule, since you don't have an own climate regulator in the capsules, which would completely not make sense at all.
Yeah.
Also, sustainability-wise, consumption-wise, it wouldn't be great.
Yeah.
You basically cool the whole room. You need to keep it to a certain level of coolness.
Yeah.
However, compared to how much like an average single room in a normal hotel actually consumes, we're way less.
Yeah.
I think the average in Switzerland is 6.6 kilograms of CO2 equivalents for scope 1 and 2.
Okay.
And we have here 1.52 kilograms of CO2 emissions.
Instead of 6.6, you're on 1.52.
Per capsule. So that's way lower than the average. And that's also why we are a hotel, but at the same time we're a hostel. Hostels are intrinsically more efficient and less carbon intensive respective to a hotel.
Sure.
So there is this aspect as
and
well.
The whole heating side, there's so much you can do there as well. I mean, like, I'm going to try and avoid saying every 2 minutes, I just got my first electric car and I'm so happy about it. But, but I did some research as well. And using like things like the steering wheel heating and the seat heating instead of heating the whole vehicle, it means you can actually keep the temperature lower in the vehicle. Because you would
really
think, I can't turn that on because it's electricity, I get less range. But it actually means that your heating system doesn't. We've got a heat pump in the vehicle as well, so it's regenerating the heat that's created from the battery. But there's also stuff in like the building industry as well. Obviously building, you guys, you've got to get moving, right? And I don't know, did you hear about that new film, Tecticon? I think it's from a Swiss guy.
No?
Oh, it's all about like getting back to basics with building. I haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I think that when I was actually starting to look into our consumption and how basically efficient we are, I realized the biggest chunk is the building. So if it's an old building, it's likely quite intensive in terms of how much heat is also dispersed. So that's why it's important to either update them or find ways to make them more efficient. And with the capsules, actually, one of the things that we also do besides the room and then having them inside, they are connected to electricity.
Okay.
But they are very efficient in a sense that one capsule consumes like 0.3 kilowatt hours per 24 hours. Okay. That's like way less than a hair dryer for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can probably drive like 5 kilometers on that max or whatever. Yeah. It's really, really low. Yeah. And there are many more things that we can do, obviously. And also in terms of procurement, production, supplies. This is what we were trying to also have an overview with the sustainability report. So try to think, okay, what is the most important for us? And maybe to go back quickly with how we started. Because I'm burning to tell you this with the heating. Just to have said this, because I think the film needs to know this. There's stuff you can get now where you put heating around the windows in houses. And apparently, even if it's an old house that you're renovating, you can run your heating with a lot less energy and the room is actually colder, but because the heat comes from where the window is, then it doesn't feel uncomfortable for people. So like instead of having, 22 degrees, you have like 19 degrees, but it's because it's heating around the window. Anyway, but you were going to tell me about your company, but I just had to share that.
That's actually pretty interesting. And maybe before we go back into that, about heating, one of the worst things is hot water,
Yeah.
because there you have not only water consumption,
Yeah.
but also the heat
You weren't too generous with the shower pressure, I noticed. I thought, I can't complain about this if we're doing environmental, you know.
That's why,
it was enough though. I got wet enough, and there was a curtain. I was like, oh no, not a curtain, but it didn't attack me.
Yeah.
So I think you got the balance right.
Space enough,
There's enough
right?
space.
Exactly.
That's it. The curtain works with space. It just doesn't work when it's close. Yeah.
I think that one of the things that we also tried really to do was to have water efficient appliances as well, like energy efficient appliances and all of that. Yeah. But I found that there is this new technology where you basically the water from the shower goes recycled. Yeah. I don't remember the name of the brand. Oh, and then so it heats like a heat exchanger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it heats it up. Okay. And then there is two different kinds. One is like you reuse the water, and the other one is how it gets heated. Yeah. It's in a different way than the normal heating, which is more efficient. I don't remember exactly how that was called, but all right. And then now to get back a bit to the beginning. Yeah, tell me about the beginning. Yeah. When I got given carte blanche to write the strategy, as I told you, I've studied this, I'm passionate about it. I was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah. And then realized I had no clue where to start because there are so many things. And I think that this is important to share when you are a small company. You maybe don't have the resources to hire people to do this for you or cooperate with different companies right from the start. Yeah. So what do? You talk to people. Yeah. You acknowledge the fact that sustainability is not a competition, rather it's something that you can inspire each other to do. Yep. And then you just try to get a head start. And you got involved in like the European hostels, yes. Great European hostels. Remind me of the name. What's it called? That is Europe's famous hostels. That's it, Europe's famous hostels. Yeah, okay. That was also pretty cool. Basically, Europe Famous Hostel is a European association for independent hostels. Okay. All over Europe. At the moment, we have 50 members. Wow. And the idea is to really have hostels with a great quality of different things. Okay. So not only the quality of the stay itself, the quality of the hygiene, but the quality also of the people, of the experience for the guests. Yeah. And many of these hostels, actually the Oscars of Hostel World just came out. Yeah. I think that 19 of these hostels were nominated. Okay. And won. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah. In order to enter the association, you need to be checked, you need to be evaluated on different things. Yeah. And a couple of years ago, I was invited to speak at a panel at Hostel World, and I shared basically this journey of sustainability. Yeah. My other panelists, they were really nice, and they were way forward in their journey. So they talked about what they were doing. Yeah. I was more like, I didn't know where to start. So this is what I did. Kind of some ideas. We basically did a materiality analysis, then we made a plan on what we want to do next. Yeah. And I think that this resonated with people a lot, so much that we had just joined this association. Yeah. And then the general manager of the association, Vinny, he said, hey, I really wanted to already found like a sustainability committee for the association. Yeah. Please, let's do it. Yeah. I think that you could help. Let's do it. Really? Yeah. And so we did. Yeah. And now we already created like a guide on how to get started for hostels on different levels of their journey. So you're actually sharing, right? So, so like, again, we just bought a Volvo and they gave us a bag with like a safety catch on, from a safety belt. Yes. And that's because they invented the 3-point belt. And what they did was they said, look, we're going to share the painting with the world. Instead of making it a Volvo thing, we're going to make it a safety thing for everything. And you're doing the same now with Save the Planet. Exactly. Share your ideas. Yeah. It's not that, as I said before, I don't think it's a competition, it's a journey. And everybody can inspire each other. Yeah. It's not, like, I think that sustainability can be a competitive advantage. Yeah. However, not in the sense that I'm doing it better than you. Yeah. More like, this is awesome, what you're doing, we want to do it too. Yeah. And people are more and more interested. The public are more and more interested. Hey, I hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as I enjoyed recording it. She just mentioned earlier on in this podcast how important it is to Capsule Hotels to create an area, a resource where people from the local community can come together and collide with each other. And that collision, that collaboration of people is something that's very close to my heart, very close to the core principles of Progress Factors.
What we always do in all our projects is we prove if people work together in a different way, the results will be way better. Now, we've had an idea for something called an ecothon for a while, and I caught up with Valentina and also with Adri Vreka, one of the owners of the Capsule Hotel chain, and we got together after the interview and started talking about this, and before you knew it, we had a plan. If you're listening to this podcast before the 3rd of April 2025, then please go to progressfactors.com and look for the Earth Circle Ecothon. We are going to be running an ecothon for 3 days in the Capsule Hotel, and we're going to be inviting 20 change makers to come and prove that sustainability can be very profitable. It's going to be a fun event. I'm going to give out a challenge at the start of the ecothon, and that challenge is something those 20 change makers are going to work on. But if you can't make it to Lucerne on the 3rd of April 2025, but you do want to get involved, well, the great thing is we're going to be not live streaming, but we're going to be streaming a lot of the material. We're going to be sharing a lot of information over the internet, on social media, and we're also going to be reaching out to our social media community to help us solve problems. So those 20 change makers might be shouting for help, and you might be the person who can make change happen. So do follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn, and do make sure if you can't be at the event that you do tune in and you get involved throughout the event, because maybe you're going to be the person who makes the big difference. Now let's get back to the interview where Valentina's going to talk about all sorts of interesting things, especially as well her take on capitalism, which I found fascinating. It's nice to hear that we can actually see capitalism, sometimes at least, if done in the right way, as a force for good. Let's get back to Valentina.
Maybe to make a bit of a business case for sustainability, especially in tourism and hospitality. What is happening now also with new laws, I don't know if you've heard about the Green Claim Directive.
Tell me.
It's a law that has been accepted at the European level. I think it's going to come into force in the next couple of years. And it's a law against greenwashing, basically.
Yes, I did, of course. I was in Bern. We went to the Sustainable Tourism Days. Fantastic event for 2 or 3 days. Two, I think it was. And there was a presentation about that.
About the Green Claim Directive. I think that's it. That's going to change the landscape a lot. Because no matter how, like for really big companies, that's going to have a big impact. For companies like us, and maybe it's not going to influence us directly, but maybe our suppliers. At the same, guests, when they travel, when they book their stays, they look for sustainable options more and more. There is statistics that show this. And Booking.com makes every year a research about the interest of guests, and it's rising. This percentage is rising every year. So basically, now if you go on an OTA, which is an online travel agency, like Booking.com, like Hostelworld, people can select whether they want a green stay or not. And before, you could self-certify. You could basically tick some boxes and be like, great, we're green. What happened now with the Green Claim Directive is that you're not going to be able to self-certify anymore. You are going to have had an audit by an external third party, and likely you need a third-party certification as well. In order to really show that you're committed and you're not BS. You're not greenwashing. And that's the thing, because like we looked into doing like badges and giving out things for people that are actually looking after the employees to kind of say Progress Factors says, but with these trends coming in, we'll actually stop bad people doing stuff like that. We were doing it out of the goodness of our hearts, at least that's what we tell you. But it's true, we wanted to do some good for the world. But at the same time, like if anyone can just say, okay, you get the green badge, then it takes it all away. Exactly.
And this is our big thing at Progress Factors. It's like sustainability is not about a report. It's not about an accreditation. It's not about tick the box. And I can tell you about many of the even very famous accreditations where it really just is, big long report, fill it out every year. But you guys, you're sustainable as well, right?
Exactly.
Coming back to the Swiss Tourism Days, they organized this, right? Tell us about Swisstainable, because I think it's such a great movement.
It's and I think that this then we can connect with what you just said, because I think that this is really, really important to talk about certification and labels. So let's connect to that afterwards. I think Switzerland Tourism is the main tourism body of the nation.
Yeah.
And they created this program that's called Sustainable.
Yeah.
Sustainable, it's for hotels, hostels, for tourism businesses, for service providers, for destinations as a whole.
Yeah.
You need to do different things in order to achieve different levels.
Yeah.
And you're not certified. It's not a certification. It's like a recognition.
Okay.
But this serves to unify the effort of Switzerland as a whole.
Yeah.
In order to be greener, be greener, not in a like marketing way, but like we are doing all an effort because we live in such a beautiful country. We need to protect it. Yeah. And this wants to invite businesses to do it. I think it's slowly going from a buzzword to it's something concrete that we need to do. Yeah. For instance, for the first level, at the moment you can still just say what you're doing, they check it, and that's it. Yeah. For the second level, you need someone as a third party that verifies what you're doing. Okay. Which is what we did. We worked with Green Destinations and got a certification that's called Good Travel Seal. Okay. And we got level 3 platinum something. Yeah. We got automatically then Sustainable level 2 because they check these things. And I have to admit at the beginning I didn't think that we needed to get any of this. Okay. I thought it's just confusing. Yeah. Honestly, the labels and the certification is a jungle. And if it's confusing for me that I'm a professional, how is
you've
it
got
for
a master's
guests?
in this. It's exactly how I feel as well.
I know.
And everyone's got a different one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which this part of the problem is that it's almost becoming a that's profitable, right? Yeah. People create certifications because you can charge a lot for people to get it. Yeah. But then it becomes even more complicated to understand what do I trust, what do I believe?
Exactly.
As a professional working in the industry, but as well as a guest or a client. When you go also to a grocery store and you want to buy a bio product, how do you know which label is better? Yeah. It's a mess. Yeah. So I think if I can make a call for action, it's important to get your practices certified. It's important because it distinguishes from greenwashing. Yeah. What we need to do and what also the Green Claim Directive is going to help to do is reduce the amount of certification labels.
Me Too certification kind of thing,
It's going to reduce the amount of these numbers so that there is going to be only a few left that are really reliable. Yeah. Yeah. And in tourism, for example, one that you should consider is the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, the GSTC. Okay. And I'm sure that you're going to hear about it if you haven't yet. Yeah. Okay. But in the year when you go through your sustainable travel podcasts, people are going to mention it, I guess. Okay. This is a really good one. Okay. And if you get a certification or a label or something that is based on that somehow or with a corporation, that's good already. Okay. Because it's already unifying on that level. Okay. If that can be a bit my call of action and my advice. Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. GSTC. Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's good to know these things because we need to help each other.
Because it's complicated.
The collaboration again. Yeah.
Exactly. It shouldn't be this complicated.
Do you know what happened? And it was a real depressing experience because we've always helped a lot of big companies, but small companies as well. But we've helped a lot of famous companies to adopt more socially responsible practices, and it really hits positive on the profit. And I'm not just talking about a few percent. It's amazing some of the results we've seen. Every time we start the project off with an imposter syndrome and say, oh, and then it gets started and it's amazing. And then we said, well, Heike, let's repeat the magic and help people to also accelerate the sustainability agenda. Do you know what I heard? There were two things. We started speaking to sustainability managers, people with similar jobs to yourself, but in different companies and different industries. And we got two answers. Either is, sorry, I'm busy, I've got to write my report. So they kind of just saw sustainability was a report, you know? Yeah. Or the other one was, no, I'm good, I can do this all on my own. And it was so tragic. It was like this heroic thing. And we all want to be heroes, but let's be heroes together. No. There's a reason why Marvel's made a lot of money. It's not because they stuck with Superman. There's a few different heroes out there, right?
No, you need help. And I think it's fair to ask for help as well. I think that this is a collective thing that we should do. Yeah. And Very, very importantly, while I was working sometimes on these projects for the famous hostels, there is this lead sustainability of another hostel.
Yeah.
She is very much similar to me, also the background that she has. And it was interesting because when we were talking to each other, we spoke the same language.
Yeah.
And then we realized we need to tell people to put the sustainability glasses on and realize that sustainability is not only about the environment.
Yeah.
The social aspects, the community aspects, the ethical aspects, the moral aspects are just the responsibility, are just as important. Yeah. As well as the economical side. So how can the economy and revenue be brought into this so that it creates benefits for everybody? Yeah.
So we talked a lot about the whole social side, you know, the people that you bring in here, the local communities, the comedy nights that you offer, the way that you want to encourage people to come into your area. And we talked a lot about the environment, but we also need to talk about, you know, the profitability side, because in our opinion, if it's not profitable, it's not sustainable. I'd love to say that the world's made out of wonderful people that want to save the planet, but honestly, you only have to look at the news at the moment. And, you know, you really have to be worried at the moment that there are a lot of people out there who are trying to say that there is no environmental problem. Well, there is. You know, you read the news about a wildfire and then about a flood, and then you hear, oh, no, there's no environmental problems. And so I think if we can make it profitable, then we'll also get those people on board as well. How do you feel about that?
I think, first of all, it's a complete, utter denial. The fact that there is not a climate crisis, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we're 100% in agreement there.
Yes. And maybe I can mention here something that is interesting also about my background, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. It might come as a complete surprise. When I did my master's, I discovered basically, I studied economics before as well. I did a bachelor in international business administration, and I specialized in tourism and hospitality management. Sustainability was my favorite subject. But in my class, I was the black sheep. I've always felt like I was studying these economic models and I was like, that doesn't really make sense to me, at least. And then I went to do my master's in an environment where we were all kind of like-minded, and it was about sustainable destination development. And I think on my couple of first weeks, I had a panel discussion. No, I think we had presentations or workshops with two people that are very much into the degrowth movement, which is something I've never heard about. One is Jennifer Hinton, and the other one is Timothy Parrick. Really cool, both people really cool. I discovered this idea and I thought, you know what? Capitalism sucks. We should completely get rid of it. It doesn't work. It completely doesn't work. It's horrible. Degrowth is the way to go. So I decided to look into alternative economies, and I even wrote my master thesis about that.
Oh, you did, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, so you know your stuff here, right?
Yeah. I was looking into...
Hope she doesn't ask me any difficult questions now.
No. I think that what came out of that was that it's harder than it looks like. I mean, ideally, it's a really great idea. So
just tell us what degrowth is, like for the people who are watching or listening to this podcast. I
think the degrowth is this school of thought, this theory about the fact that we can, because of the planetary boundaries and because of the resources that we have, we cannot sustain the growth that we need to have or keep wanting to have. Because what's the objective of business of capitalism?
To feed the capitalist monster, just keep the bull on Wall Street.
You need to keep growing. It's not feasible. This is not possible anymore because the resources are limited. And this is also something that you cannot deny, basically. The resources are limited.
It's finite.
Is a fact. So we need to find alternative ways of making an efficient use of these resources and maybe stop producing more and more and more. Try to do enough for what you have. And I think that this idea, it's really good. I think that the big companies should really try to maybe to a certain extent implement this. And I think that the problem is not only these companies, because the multinationals, they produce because we demand. So it's not only that side, it's also the consumer sides that we have. So we're part of the problem too. this is why education is important. This is why awareness is important. But,
did you know we haven't ordered anything on Amazon for like 10 years?
Great.
We don't buy anything on Amazon, and we speak to lots of people with your job, and they go like, really? And you can tell they're like, don't ask me whether I do. I'm not going to ask you either. But it's possible, right? It's the consumer has a voice, right?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And at the moment, the more sustainable options are maybe a little bit more expensive still,
Yeah.
but not all of them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, actually, they last longer often. Maybe you do a little bit of an investment instead of buying 100 different things.
I had that with bike pumps. Every year I would buy like a cheap bike pump in spring.
Yeah.
And then like, and by,
And
the
would
next year
break.
it would break again. And then you get one bike pump, it's like 15, 20 years, it's still there,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about quality. It's about also how a product is made.
Yeah.
And if you go back now to the service industry, like sustainability, like hospitality, for instance, you have to imagine, I finished my master's and I came from this idea of like, capitalism sucks.
Yeah.
And I started to work obviously for a for-profit company because it was still like out of the startup phase, very small.
Yeah.
But needed to make profit in order
if you
to
don't
pay
earn money, you
salaries.
die, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also like salaries.
Yeah.
It's you need to pay your bills.
Yeah.
You need to pay your overheads and your costs.
Yeah.
But also you need to make sure that you are you're giving a livelihood to people.
Yeah, and also for your communities here as well. If you're giving free water out and free electricity.
And it's important. And I think when I arrived and I had this really strong idea, I needed to find my way to balance it. I needed to find my way to make peace with it.
Yeah.
And I had really nice talks with our management team, with our CEO, Adri Freke, and then with Beashi Fauer, my CFO, and then with Peter, our Chief Design Officer, and with Miki, Michaela, the COO. And they are all very down-to-earth people. They're not doing this for the money themselves. It's not like to put money in their pockets and become one of the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
They do this because they really believe in this.
It's a passion, yeah.
It's a passion. They believe in the concept. They believe in the idea of, hey, we are like an affordable place to stay. Our mission of the company is to make it possible for everyone to explore the world.
Yeah.
In a safe way, in a comfortable way, in an affordable way.
Yeah.
And by expanding to different cities, this is the idea, right? Is to provide jobs, opportunities to locals.
Yeah.
Is to bring benefits to the community by cooperating with local producers and suppliers.
Yeah.
Is to make it possible to people to stay with us safely for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And make sure that the choices that we make when we build our hotels.
Yeah.
Also, for example, the design of this, we worked with local artists.
Yeah.
Peter had this vision.
And I saw you put the QR code, and my wife's an artist, so I was like, I'm going to QR code that tomorrow.
That would be lovely.
Yeah.
And the artists are displayed actually at the entrance of the hotel.
Yeah.
There is a big mural with two people.
Yeah.
That's the artist. They draw themselves.
Oh, it's like a self-portrait, yeah? Oh, right.
Yes,
okay.
And the ones that you see here, these ones as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it yesterday with the black light.
I actually sat there last night. Yeah. I even filmed a little bit.
Oh, nice.
So, hopefully you'll...
There's Easter eggs that come out from that.
Oh,
like
really?
With the black light.
Oh, I
at
didn't
night,
know that.
you see like little
You're joking,
things
yeah?
No, it's
I know,
real.
it's okay. Do you know what as well? Like, I'll be honest, because I'd did a little bit of just like practice filming and stuff from the area last night just with my phone, and I was really, really impressed when I saw that you had like Aslan from Narnia. And I was like, I am Aslan. It's the only thing that my kids used to love it when I was like when they were young. I was like, I am Aslan.
I love that.
Yeah, but then I looked and there was like, where's Pippi Langstrom? There was no Pippi Langstrom next to the room. And I was like very disappointed because I stayed in the Pippi Langstrom suite last night, right? Yeah. And then I came in and I was like, there's my Pippi Langstrom. So I'm very impressed. You've got wallpaper with Pippi Langstrom on, Pippi Longstockings.
Longstockings, exactly. And there is different, they're a bit everywhere.
Yeah.
Where you least expect it. Also, I think that in the male bathroom, you have Peter Pan. And in the female, you have... the lady from Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Dorothy.
Dorothy, exactly.
Yeah.
Dorothy.
With the red shoes, yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you also have the Little Prince.
Okay.
And each room actually has a theme from a book.
Yeah.
An important, like a really known book from a long time ago.
Yeah.
and the artists draw the wallpaper, but also inside of the capsules.
So you had that wallpaper made for you. I was wondering if you can buy that somewhere.
They did it.
You're joking?
No.
Can you order it from him, or is it like a one-off? He's not. Not if you're building a hotel. It's the right answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But you should. I mean, you should actually look them up. They're really good.
Yeah.
And you were saying in PP Longstocking capsule, so your capsule had the design of like remembering this world of PP Longstocking, but depending of the team, the capsule is also a different design. So for example, in Narnia, you will have Aslan. Is that it?
Aslan is, is the name of the lion.
Exactly. So you will have Aslan with the lady, the couple on top, the brother
kids,
and the sister, the kids. Exactly. So each room is different. And it makes a lot of difference. I think it makes the vibe and the ambience really nice.
Yeah, and I love that sort of thing. I've stayed in so many hotels, and I always try to avoid like the big chain hotels because you just like walk with the same stupid carpet as last week, and it, even if it's a different color, it looks the same as the other hotel across the road, and then you go in the room and it's just
This is something that we also got as a feedback quite a bit when we did the opening. A lot of also tourism professionals, and they said, hey, for a like in Switzerland especially, you don't see a lot of colors when you go into hotels. So this is like popping. One of my favorite things is really the bathroom. Like the male bathrooms, I think, is all green, like this mint green kind of thing.
I think so. The
ladies is like a really nice pink, which you think like, oh my goodness, it's like a lot of pink. No, it works. It's like almost like one of the highlights of the place because of the design and how it's made. And each location actually is different. Each location has a different team, and we will try to work with artists and like designs from the local places.
Local area.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like we need to get back to this
or
whole
reuse
thing.
things as well. That's important to say. Reuse things.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, here we're sat here in the book swap area. So book swap, take one, leave one.
Yeah. Also on the other side there are a bunch. There is a whole wall. That's part of it. I think for the future we're also looking into different ideas on how to maybe take less things that are produced for us. Maybe I can give you also a little hint. When I said reuse, our Peter, our chief design officer, recently said, "Hey, we're opening a new hotel."
I was wondering when to mention this. Tell me, can we mention this? Can we spoil on this one?
Let's spoil this. We're opening a new hotel.
All right.
And that's in Copenhagen. Our first location.
Have you been?
Yes, I've been.
It's such a cool town, huh?
I've seen it in September, and Copenhagen is wonderful. So like food-wise, I love it. I'm a foodie, so this is like the city. And basically, we're gonna open actually in not a couple of weeks, but in a month or so. It's gonna be mid-March. Coming soon. We're really, really excited. It's our first location out of Switzerland.
Right.
So it's a really, really big milestone.
And why Denmark? Why Copenhagen?
We made a map of different places where we wanted to go to, and Copenhagen was on the map. We found this opportunity at the beginning of September. Looked into it and decided that it was worth it, and decided to go for it. It was a little hostel. We knew the owners, and they've wanted to leave the hostel for a while. So we took it over.
I see. So it's an existing hostel that you've now reused, and
we're rebuilding it. We're refurbishing it. We're putting our own capsules. And a bunch of different things. And when we were talking about reusing, the theme is going to be something with fabric. So every clothes that we have that we don't use anymore.
The apparel,
Exactly. Peter is going to use to design the hotel.
You're joking. This is, I'm going to go and stay there. I want to stay at this place.
You should.
Yeah, it's still like this is Swiss style, and I mean Switzerland is obviously it's a special place to be, right? But I remember once we went to Flimslaks, and we stayed up in actually on the top of the mountain for New Year, and we thought we were going to have a fantastic ski thing, but a storm came, we couldn't get out. Now, you know what, like the living area there was just like here. It was Swiss style. It was really nice.
It was nice. It felt nice, yeah.
But the thing was, the rooms, they were hostel style. When we had like a family room with like 6, 3 beds on top of each other twice. There's only 4 of us. But anyway, and it was wasn't the best, to be honest. It was quite an uncomfortable experience.
Yeah.
Now, having like your capsules, if you can repeat that, I mean, that is just, it's a comfortable space and it's enough for sleeping in, and then you can actually socialize around here, right?
And the idea is also, there are a few hostels all over Europe that now are actually trying out our capsules.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They basically take out their bunk beds and put a few capsules instead.
Yeah.
And the ADR is higher because you can also charge a bit more.
Yeah.
And so a few of them have tried it, and just the other day someone is getting more because they're happy with them.
Yeah.
Maybe also good to mention is that we have actually 2 different capsule lines.
Okay.
We have the premium line, which is this one.
Okay.
And this one made in alu core and with the PET material and all of that.
And can it be recycled?
Yes. Likely. The material can be recycled.
Yeah.
I will run an LCA. This is also on my to-do list of sustainability tasks.
Okay.
Just to know exactly what is the LCA of the capsule. Plus, we're gonna get we have our lean line, which is made fully in wood, and this is made in Germany by a friend of us, our supplier. But I say friend because Adri, for instance, our CEO, plus Hendrik, our tech guru, they chat with Ollie all the time, and they basically build the capsule together. They design it and how it should look like, and this guy is so nice, so hands-on, and visionary. The hostels tend to go for the lean line because it's a little bit cheaper, and it works very well with the design of a hostel. And it works. Seems that people really like it. Our location in Basel also has a few of these and a few of these. And I think what also I appreciate from a sustainability perspective is that it's efficient on so many levels to have capsules that we like the fact that people are looking into it. It's also something for a person, right? You feeling safe. And some people really don't like it. We've had people that walk in and like, it looks horrible. Like it looks it's too tiny. Hey, maybe not for everyone. I get it, and it's totally fine. However, if you're in for the experience, try it out.
And I mean, like my wife's not so good in small spaces.
I get it.
I think she'd be all right here, to be honest, but she's not like super extreme. There's an old story actually. We once went to Edinburgh. You ever go to Edinburgh? Go up to Scott's Monument. It's called a Scott Monument, I think. And it's an old Gothic kind of like tower. You don't see how big it is when you're at the bottom because it's like in a big space. But you go up and basically I'm like not good with heights and my wife's not good with spaces, and it gets smaller and smaller the higher up you get. So she gets to the top and she's like, I gotta get up. And she comes out and she's like happy to be at the top. I get to the top and I'm like, oh my God, there's no rain. So I wanted to go down again. She's like, I'm not going back in there. We're both having the fit together. It's like
you for the heights and she for the
it's like I wanted to go back in. She's like, no, don't make me go. I need some fresh air first. But there was no raininess and I can't remember. But anyway.
But she managed to walk down.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not that bad, but it's always the shock moments, right? I mean, I've done parachute jumps and all sorts, but it's the shock moments are the ones that get you.
I get it. Been there before. But of course, I mean the design. It is like it's a meter and 20. Also a meter and 20, I think, and a long 2 meter and 20 as well. So you can sit actually in it. And a few of our capsules, I think, is still at Up and Garden. Also have a table. So we didn't put it here. But you can work. You're sitting in your capsule and you have the plugs and you can regulate the light.
That might be a nice idea to do something like where you can like put the mattress up at the back or something, so you can kind of sit up and read or something like that, because I don't know if I'd want to sit there and work necessarily. You can sit here, you've got this joint area, that's fine these days, with your AirPods you can black out the
course.
noise if you need to and stuff. But I think maybe just being able to kind of like see it as like a nice place to read,
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, just a thought. What I love about this company and what I love about this conversation is it's all about purpose. And like sometimes we describe ourselves as strategy consultants, sometimes as change specialists, sometimes transformation. But basically what we do is we help people to create good strategies and to earn more money by doing the right thing and to transfer to this kind of culture, so to transform. And often when I meet people who've been working in business, running companies for many years, and I talk about purpose, they say, oh, that's the vision, right? And it's like, no, not really. Like if I think about Fujifilm in the 80s, they had the vision, kill Kodak. They were successful. If I think BMW, I believe in the 80s said murder Mercedes. I used to work for them, I never heard that. But these were kind of like, mission statements and visions. It was all about what I can get. Yeah. And I try to explain to people the purpose of a company. For us, it's about educating the world that you can earn more money by doing the right thing so that more people do the right thing. Yeah. And that's why we're doing these podcasts. You're educating people, and thank you so much for taking the time to do that. We're hoping to inspire other people. But you're also a purpose-led organization. The way I look at you guys is, you've got this purpose of making local communities have a nicer area to be in, but it's not that you're using the backpackers, the solo travelists, to pay for the local area. No. It's actually also about saying, okay, there are many people around the world that want to be a solo travelist and they want a different experience. You're making it possible for them to be able to do that. And I actually met a brilliant guy called Feng this morning in the bathroom just before we were about to start our interview. Yeah. So I went in, and I loved the way, by the way, that your shower cubicles, firstly the shower's big enough, so curtain wasn't a problem.
Doesn't touch you? Yes.
Yeah, I was going to attack you on the curtain thing, but it didn't attack me, so you're fine there.
Great.
But you can just shut the door there, you know?
Exactly.
And I've been in sports clubs and stuff like that. If there wasn't a door on the shower, I'd have been okay, but it's nicer like that. So I got changed quickly. I came out, I met Feng, and he's actually he's a social media star in China.
Oh, wow.
And he's just touring around here and everything, and he said, normally I couldn't afford to come to Switzerland. You made it possible for me.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the whole purpose thing. You're earning money by doing some good. You didn't say, how do I earn money? And we have to do a bit of good. That's greenwashing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're saying, okay, we want to do some good and make sure it's profitable. Just like a good dentist.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Peter Drucker?
No.
People say Trucker, but he's an Austrian guy, Drucker, but he lived in America, and I think he was at Stanford one of the big unis in America for many years. They call him the father of modern management, and he actually spoke a lot about the social responsibilities of management in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And it's something that people have forgotten. But he was always saying, if you go to a dentist and you have the feeling that earning money is more important than healing your teeth, then you're at a bad dentist. Yeah. And so it's got to be, I want to be a good doctor and earn money. If I don't earn money, I can't be a doctor for very long. It's not sustainable, right?
Yeah. I think that maybe a really important thing to mention here is people. For us, our company also is people. And to survive, to thrive, you work in order to then also be able to afford things, and this is the society we live in. So for us it's important to recognize what people do and make sure that they don't get just the bare minimum just because that's how other people do it. We want to really show the value that people have, and I think it's a work in progress always, but it is everything about the people. The people make a company, the people make a vibe, the people make also the fact that you entered here and yesterday you met Luca, this morning you met Bruno. They are the company, they are our exactly, and they can connect well with guests, with travelers, but also with the locals coming in. And it makes a difference, I think. And I noticed as well, some of the people who are staying here, because you've got somebody like Luca, you've got somebody like Bruno that bring that warm atmosphere. They bring the soul into the place, and I think what happens is you don't feel so scared to talk to other guests as well. And so there was a couple of people just when I was on my way to bed, and then you get exactly and people seem to respect, like, in the room you're quiet when you go to your capsule. There was a couple of people who were a little bit loud last night. It was like, oh, is this going to be all night long? But no. That's the idea. And I mean, something about also hospitality is that you have people from all over the world. So you have different cultures, but also different habits, different customs, different traditions. So how people behave or do things, or even sort waste.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, you got like 5 or 6 different bins. I was like, whoa,
exactly.
This is good. I was filming this. I was like, when do I stop?
Have you noticed that I actually added like there is pictures of what goes into what?
Yeah.
Because there are some parts of the world maybe actually recycling is not a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you've never been taught how to recycle or divide waste.
Yeah.
And it's not that easy.
Yeah.
You don't even think of it.
Yeah.
And this is what I meant also. We have the opportunity to raise awareness and educate. Guests and people in general. This is part of our purpose, I think. A part of our purpose is also to take advantage of the privileged position that we have as basically part of the tourism supply chain. People choose to stay with us to have a certain kind of experience that is not only about their safety and the quality, it's also about actually this is a more sustainable option than if I would stay somewhere else. And when I say a more sustainable option, it's not because I want to like use sustainability as a marketing tool. But on the other hand, this is how it is.
Because and that's what purpose means.
Exactly.
We're not using it to our advantage. We're doing it, and it's bringing us advantages. And
one of the things I want to implement soon is to find ways to communicate around the hotels. What we do actually, because we know, but if we want them to have an impact and raise awareness, so that then maybe guests take something with them when they leave, we need also to showcase it, and not in a like cringe, weird way, like we are sustainable, do this, do that, more like, hey, by the way, or have you seen the free water? Just take it. You know, exactly, these things. It's like,
and those are the little things. You know, I get so angry when you get in a hotel room and then it's like, you know, €7 meanwhile for a small bottle of water. It's like, oh, come on, you know. Like I travel around anyway with reusables because you know I'm traveling a lot. But you know, when people start charging you like extreme amounts of money for water, you know, it's like one thing we never had in the UK, and I just recently read on the UK news there's a debate going on about whether people can come into your restaurant to use the toilet or not. You know? And Germans are terrible for that. I mean, where I live, it's a tourist area, and then you come in, would you mind if I just went to the toilet? No, you know, and it's like, how can you say that to people? How can you say that? It's not human, is it, right?
You know, about this, I was in Rome in January, and I really need to go to the bathroom, and there was a restaurant with this little line. Line, it was like one of the most famous restaurants in the area. People would stay in line for hours in order to get in. And I really needed to go, so I walked in and I went to the lady with my like €2 ready, and I was like, that's my mother tongue, so I asked in Italian and I said, hey, sorry, can I use the bathroom? She was like, oh, of course. I was like, I need to, she was like, are you joking? No, just go ahead. You know, the restaurant was full like this. There was one toilet, and still she let me go without even thinking about it.
Because she's a human being, right? And that's why, you know, and if you have a hotel and you talk about guests, it's like when I'm at home, I don't, you know, it's like the whole electric vehicle thing as well. I heard about a startup, maybe you know this, but there's a startup where you can actually kind of like charge the electricity you use at a friend's house to your own account. So imagine like if I come to visit you and you've got a wall box or whatever, rather than me going like 10 minutes down the road to the big powerful thing, I can use your thing, but I can charge it straight to my account, you know?
That would be pretty cool actually.
But
I guess it's with the power plug that
exactly, awesome. I don't know exactly how it works. It was a couple of years back, but I got my first hybrid vehicle. It was a plug-in hybrid 7 years ago, but it was a plug-in hybrid that managed about 11 kilometers. So it's like I didn't plug it in very often, you know. but
last year we actually hosted here like a day that's called ERFA Day for one of the NGOs that we work with, that's called My Blue Planet. Basically it's an organization. They help us, they did the materiality analysis with us, so decide which climate actions are more important to take, what we need to prioritize. We hosted a day with different hoteliers from all over Switzerland.
Yeah.
We had a morning presentation session,
Yeah.
and then we came here to have a few workshops in the afternoon. And during the workshops, there was one of the participants that basically said, you know, we try to do a lot, but sometimes like guests, they travel related also to the waste. Sometimes I tried these like images because they don't get it sometimes. And it's frustrating because you're really trying. And she said, you know, what we need to make it clear is that, hey, dear guest, you're traveling, but you're still on the same planet. So it doesn't matter where you are. How many times you go on holiday and you think like, you know what?
All the rules
I'm on holiday. Like I don't care.
I'm gonna have another glass of wine and drive home or whatever.
Or I'm just gonna maybe I'm gonna let the water run while I shower for 10 minutes because you know, I don't care. At home I want to spare costs, but here, who cares?
And often when you're on holiday, it's difficult sometimes to recycle. Like I find that gets really hard sometimes.
But this is why I think it's important to make it as easy and as clear as possible, and facilitate this for people, and even maybe teach some people that this is possible.
So I mean, it's all about like making it easy to do the right thing, and this is what you are doing perfectly. You're doing it really, really well. I have to say, you know, coming here, I think probably everyone says the same thing. I wasn't sure what to expect, you know? And like, I mean, I live close to Zurich Airport, and I'm almost disappointed I've got no reason to stay there. But if I ever have a very early flight, in fact, you know, I might do that because sometimes the red-eye flights, you know, that's hard for me if I have to get up at 4 a.m, you know?
Absolutely.
But anyway, so, I mean, I think the thing is, you're doing this incredibly well. And I really appreciate the time you've taken. You're bringing people into the community, you're making it more easier and more enjoyable for them to actually come in and to interact with other people. You're helping people from all around the planet to interact with each other. You're giving people a safe environment, because we all know how it is. It doesn't matter whether you're a racist or not. The further you travel away on holiday, the more scared you are that everyone's a thief, the more scared you are that, you know, people are going to be horrible.
You don't know the culture, of course. It's scary. It can be scary, but that's the idea, right? Make people feel safe. Make people feel like they can open their mind and connect with others and get to know something else and something new.
You know, we did a lot of podcasts about sustainable aviation last year. Right now we're starting off with the sustainable tourism, and you know, there's a great professor, Andreas Strohmeyer in Stuttgart Uni, and he said, and I believe this is also a phrase that Bill Gates has said as well, the first World Wide Web was airplanes. You know, getting people to travel meant that you could connect with people around the world. And I think, you know, you are doing another wonderful service for society in making it easier and safer and more enjoyable for people to come together and to connect. And I think the more we connect with people from other parts of the world, just like Fong that I met in the bathroom this morning, we'll tag him. So, you know, social media star in China, I didn't know the guy, you know, and he doesn't know me either. So really fantastic. I want to thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Thank you, Nick, really. I am so happy that you reached out and that you were coming to Lucerne and you were like, hey, by the way, I know that we chatted last year. Do you want to do this? And I'm so glad that you did. It was lovely to talk to you, like the first time that we chatted. And thank you for taking the time also to do this with me and choose us to do it. I'm very happy.
So once again from my side, a big thank you to Valentina for finding so much time and sharing so much wisdom with us. It was such a great time speaking to her. I do hope you enjoyed the interview, and the good news is at the end of this interview we agreed with Adri Vreka, one of the owners of the Capsule Hotel, that he would also do a quick conversation with us. So there's going to be a bonus podcast coming up very, very soon in the next few weeks, and you'll be able to listen to Adri Vreka, one of the guys who really took out his personal life and changed everything because he believed so much in the cause of the capsule hotels. And it seems like it was a great gamble, it's paying off, and he's actually really enjoying having a purposeful job and owning a company that's making a positive impact for all those solo travelers around the world. If you haven't subscribed to our channels yet, please do that. Please subscribe wherever you're streaming this podcast. Please go to YouTube, subscribe there as well. It does make a difference to us how many subscribers we have. And the same thing again, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we got a website, we're a very chatty organisation. Follow us wherever you can. It really supports us, but also get in contact. Send us a message. I've had some wonderful conversations with people who have watched our YouTube films already. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what sort of podcast you'd like to hear. Tell me what you like the most about this podcast. Tell me what you think we should change next time. The team and I are so thankful for all the feedback we're getting and all the interaction with our slowly growing community. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.